And then, you guys want to hear the story?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Especially a Marine story.
Oh, that's a Marine story. 40 years ago. I had a sergeant, I was a lance corporal, and this gentleman had a problem with my permanent tan. And usually I'm not fixed on this, I don't really care, right? It's just me. And then one day, he went a step further than dropping the N-bombs and the jokes. He put hands on me. So it was the N-bomb, then hands on me, and I popped them in the snout. Usually, if you're in the service, you already know it's an Article 15, non-judicial punishment, office hours, that's it, and it's done. Well, my commander wasn't going to do anything to him. And I thought that was wrong. Because as a leader, you don't use those words to other Marines. That's not leadership. So I said, well, I demand trial by court, which is court-martial. I requested it. It's on record. The Seattle Times looked at my records. Why wouldn't anybody else to get the story? But no, that's not convenient. We just have to put out the half-truth. And I lost rank. And I served 28 days chipping paint off the submarines or Navy ships, whatever was in dry dock. And then I went back to my unit. And I continued to serve my tour of duty. And I got promoted again. And I got an honorable discharge with a good conduct medal. How about them apples? You want some more apples? I did get my high school diploma. Later got a bachelor's degree in business administration, summa cum laude 4.0. Later went to graduate school, Villanova University, got a master's degree in human resource development with a follow-on certificate, certification PHR. Graduate certificate from UCLA in entrepreneurship. Finished at my PhD in industrial organizational psychology. Not talking about that. They don't talk about that. Oh, here's some more. 16 years later, after the first honorable discharge, 9/11 happened, and I went back in and I volunteered to become a Special Forces Green Beret in the Army. At age 43, I became a Green Beret. Age 43. And I went to combat. And yes, Bronze Star Valor, Purple Heart, Meritorious Service Medal, 6 commendations, and other stuff. It doesn't matter, I'm alive. That's what counted. You serve in combat, you're in firefight after firefight, you come home, you're thankful. It doesn't really matter what they give you. But you see my story. I'm not a perfect person. I may have made some boneheaded decisions, but I'm human. And I learn from my decisions. I'm saying this for a reason, because I want you to know who I am. Someone who doesn't give up. Someone that's human. And someone that understands everyone has self-worth. Everyone has value. This is personal to me. My love of, well, my faith, my family, and my love of country. If I'm willing to bleed on foreign soil for my nation, you understand the nature of my service to my state. That only makes sense, correct? And I have a career. I have a resume. And I'll share that with you. I served in a Special Forces A team in combat. And as I advanced in my team, they wanted me to take a commission. And I said no. I like being in a team. And if I took a commission and during a commission, I'd immediately be a captain. Then I would quickly be a major, because we're short Special Forces officers. We're short Special Forces operators. And I said no, respectfully, thank you. And we're family anyway. So they promoted me to intelligence-like, which is Advanced Special Operations Technician. It's intelligence. I was the CSI guy in the team. So sensitive site exploitation is what I did. I won't go into some of the details because it doesn't seem nice, but it's part of the job. But yes, I did that, and then I went full-on intelligence and Special Forces intelligence. And I worked from the field to operations, to psychological operations, to running operations, and I worked out of embassies. And I ran operations out of embassies. I formed joint interagency task forces, working with the CIA, the NSA, the DEA, the DIA. I know there's a lot of alphabets out there. It's my resume. If I can create a joint interagency task force to go after terrorists, do you see the capability as a governor creating a joint interagency task force to go after narco-terrorists? And by the way, when I was stationed at Special Operations Command South, counter narco-terrorism, that was our mission, and counter human trafficking. So that was why my second language was Spanish. Yeah, sí, yo lo soy bien con español, pero diferente de los días. Sí, it's okay, if I am. But having that experience of working with multiple agencies to target and to interdict drug dealers. Do we have a problem in Washington State with fentanyl? The number one killer of all adults in Washington State from ages 18 to 45? Homelessness. What is the root cause of homelessness? My friends, it's not affordable housing. Trust me on that.
Yep.
When you're putting the needle in your neck or any of the parts, or you're smoking a substance mixed with horse tranquilizer and fentanyl, knowing that parts of your body are decayed each time you continue to dose. The last thing you're worried about is how much you're paying for rent or not paying for rent. It's not housing first, it must be treatment first. Mental health and addiction is a crisis in Washington State. And I may not have gotten there yet, but I am a behavioral scientist, the high school dropout. I'm always going to take you back there. I'm going to go back one more step. The child born in the inner city to a single woman with 7 children. Pre-civil rights. The kid born without civil rights. And that is a beautiful story. That is a beautiful story for me. Can you feel it? Yeah. Can you feel the hope that I can bring, my message that I'm bringing to the inner city of Seattle, which I have been campaigning on for over a year now? When people are saying, well, where's Simi? Why doesn't he have $2 million? Think about this objectively. I have been campaigning in the inner city. These are not the people that show up to the platinum dinner plate get-togethers. I've had one large fundraiser like this at my friend's house, a beautiful mansion, gated community on Snag Island in Lake Taps. My friend, an African American from Africa. You know, the real African American, if they're not, I'm going to say a black American. You're American, but an African American came here with $95 in his pocket.
Wow.
Oh, well, that friend, you hear where I'm going with this, who supports me. That free market thinking, that capitalist, that person who worked his way from nothing, $95, didn't come from wealth or tribal chief. He came from a village in poverty with a mindset of I can and a heart filled with passion for freedom, liberty, and opportunity in America. That was my friend who owns a mansion because he owns a company with 6,500 employees. And his wife, a single woman that he met with 3 children, raised in Hilltop, Tacoma, or ghetto. Well, they call it a ghetto. I'm from East Oakland, so we would go, call that a ghetto. Oh, you Washingtonians, you just don't know. In Chicago would be right next to us. Yeah, they don't know nothing about a ghetto. My point. These people in this beautiful mansion both found each other and both worked their way out 7 days a week and created this wealth, this company. You hear the story. Back to my story. The people I've been engaging with and meeting and talking to and asking questions. Everyday citizens, the working class, people who are looking for hope. They have value and they know a lot of people. And I met with the Kenyans, the Somalis, the Ethiopians, hundreds of thousands in Seattle. I'm not sure if y'all are tracking with our diverse communities.
And the Kenyans.
And be not afraid of that word diversity, because the progressives don't own that.
That's Right.
They don't own that word.
They don't live.
This is America, and they don't live it. This is America, a nation that was based on that fact. We were intended to be a nation of diversity. Different races, different religions, different everything. That's why it's called a melting pot. You ever heard that?
Yes.
That was the reason. Put everything in there. It's like a good tasting gumbo. And then Southern thing, gumbo. Good. So I served in an 18, went into intelligence. I left active duty. I came back to Washington State to my family, and I joined the Army National Guard of Washington State, Special Operations Detachment Pacific, right over there at Camp Murray. And that was my unit. And of course, I kept deploying, even though I was in National Guard. But before my deployment, I became a federal employee. Worked my way up from a GS nothing to a GS 14 out of 15. Yeah, not bad. Not bad. And stayed with the National Guard until retirement. Combined service, Marine Corps, active duty, and Guard. Retired from the military. And with the Department of Energy, I was the Director of Organizational Development, which is organizational improvement, organizational structure, how to run our organization more effectively, more efficiently. We had a Six Sigma and Lean program to train people how to perform more effectively and efficiently within our different programs. And then I became an acting chief of staff while my boss was on detail to Washington, D.C. And then I became the director of training and leadership development. And then I retired from the United States Department of Energy as a director. And I taught at Washington State, so I said Department of Energy, I taught at Washington State University as an associate director of professional development and community education. That's my resume. It goes on. Behavioral scientist, organizational consultant. Imagine me going into a Fortune 500 company, big corporation, aerospace, and I help them on their manufacturing lines to be more efficient. And Six Sigma, if anybody understands that, it's dialing in every aspect of how they're doing anything on a production line and measuring performance, time, every little thing, and putting a measurement piece to that just to dial it in. I know this is boring stuff, but I'm getting to a point. It's that frame of mind of going for perfection of performance. Could you even imagine a small fraction of that mindset in Olympia? Right? In lean methodology, just removing waste. Do you know how much waste we have in Olympia? So,
all of it.
Right? And when you go into a corporation, the first thing you must ask for, that I would ask for, is, I need to see your books. I need to spend some time with your CFO, your chief financial officer. I need to go through your books. I need to see your ledgers. I need to understand your revenue streams and your revenue cycles. I need to see, are you coding them correctly? Are you accountable for, are you with me on this? Could you imagine that in Olympia? And your debts. What is your strategic plan? Do you have a strategic plan for your company, for your corporation? And does it flow all the way down to your frontline operators, which means they know your strategic plan and they feel a part of it? Is that making sense to everybody? This is all performance improvement. I think if I could communicate something to you right now, can you see that I'm applying for a job?
Yes.
Not simply asking for you to elect me to a position to hold, but a job to go to work in? I have the resume to do the job, to make improvements, and I know how to make those improvements. I was a credentialed federal officer with the National Nuclear Security Administration while serving as a federal director. Radiological Assistance Program. Our job was to respond to nuclear threats. Using theory of nuclear spectroscopy, I had a scientist and health physicist assigned to me, and I was the team leader. So I coordinated with chiefs of police, sheriffs, fire chiefs, and yes, we have operations in Seattle, or had operations in Seattle.